Tonight on Playback TV, we are watching whatever you want to watch. Go to playback.tv/runitbackphilly and type in the chat what we should watch tonight. An old school dunk contest, highlights of an old game, highlights of something else, a video that you like that you think would be interesting for us to watch. Anything you think we should watch. Go to playback.tv/runitbackphilly, type it in the chat, or tweet me at runitbackphilly and say, watch this tonight at 9 o'clock on Playback TV. Join us over there. We have 600 members. You should be the next member. Playback.tv/runitbackphilly. Let's get into this video. We're going to talk about why the Sixers should sign Tony Bradley if he gets released by the Chicago Bulls. He is expected to be released, him and Goran Dragic, and we have no interest in Goran Dragic. You know that. We're going to talk about all the reasons we should sign Tony Bradley if he is released by the Chicago Bulls. But first, it's been a while, guys. It's been a minute. We haven't laughed at Ben Simmons' demise for a while. And Jacques Vaughn just yesterday or the day before was in a press conference and basically completely flat out said Ben Simmons is worthless. And I've been saying this for years. He doesn't have a position. You can't put him at point guard because he won't shoot. You can't put him at shooting guard because he won't shoot. Small forward because he won't shoot. Power forward because he won't shoot. You can't put him at center because he can't guard the rim for some reason. He's 6'11", athletic freak who doesn't block shots. Like, I mean, at least if he had some kind of Nerlens Noel shot blocking ability, you'd be able to play him there at backup center or something. You can't play the guy. And I respect Jacques Vaughn for being honest and doing what's best for his team, and that is getting Ben Simmons the fuck out of there. He's been terrible since he came in the league. It was all smoke and mirrors. The fanboys came at me for years telling me I was wrong. I'm right. And now that I just continue to be more right about it, I'm going to rub it in every single chance I get. Anyway, let's listen to Jacques Vaughn admitting that Ben Simmons is completely unplayable.
It's going to be some work that we have to do because you just take a look at what the lineups could potentially look like. You put another big next to Ben, then you got to figure out what the spacing is around him. Then if you put a playmaker next to him, then you got to figure out what Ben looks like without the basketball. Then if you go small with Ben, then you got to figure out, can you rebound enough with him? All right, so the challenges are ahead of us. We'll look them head on.
He can't shoot, he can't do anything without the ball, and he can't rebound. What a loser! Anyway, let's get to Tony Bradley, who is expected to be released by the Chicago Bulls at some point, and the Sixers should sign him, and here's why, okay? Tony Bradley is 25 years old, and when he played for the Sixers, I just assumed that he was like a veteran, like an NBA journeyman. I don't know. I just felt like Tony Bradley was around forever for some reason. Maybe it's because he looks like he's 38. You know what I mean? But he's 25 years old, so he's young, not much older than Charles Bassey or Isaiah Joe or any of those guys that I ran and raved about the Sixers releasing. And he does break that Doc Rivers 25-year-old threshold where, look, if you're 25, you know, you're probably not going to get playoff minutes over top of 37-year-old PJ Tucker, but you do at least stand a chance at getting on the floor. Once you crack the 25-year mark, Doc Rivers at least knows that you exist. He at least acknowledges your existence as a human being on this planet. So he breaks that 25-year barrier that you need to play under Doc Rivers. 6'10", 248. I like the size of Tony Bradley, all right? Pause, son. Oh, my God. 6'10", 248. He's almost the same exact size as Charles Bassey. And that makes him taller than any of the 76ers backup centers at the moment. We're not counting Dwayne Dedmon because Dwayne Dedmon is a dead man. He doesn't exist. He's not real. We have at backup center Montrezl Harrell and Paul Reed. So that would put Tony Bradley as the tallest and biggest backup center that we have. And I want to tell you the two reasons why the 76ers should definitely sign Tony Bradley if he is released by the Chicago Bulls. And these are very simple reasons. He's a better rebounder than Montrezl Harrell, and he's a better defender than Montrezl Harrell. I've been saying this forever, At backup center, you don't need a superstar. You don't even need an offensive player. And Tony Bradley does have a little bit of offense, don't get me wrong. You just need a guy who can guard the rim a little bit and get some rebounds. That's all you need. Montrezl Harrell can't guard the rim, can't get any rebounds. Sometimes Doc Rivers gets real crazy and puts George Niang at the 5. Oh my God, can't guard the rim, can't grab any rebounds. So let's just compare a couple of advanced stats of Tony Bradley with Montrezl Harrell, so I can explain to you exactly why they should sign Tony Bradley and how much better he is at these things than Montrezl Harrell. So we go to, what are we going to go to? Advanced stats here, okay? Now, Tony Bradley this season is not getting any run with the Chicago Bulls. He's playing 2.8 minutes a game, something like that. But last year, he got some run with the Chicago Bulls. He played in 55 games. And, of course, with the Philadelphia 76ers a couple of years ago, he played in 20 games before we moved him. I forget what we moved Tony Bradley for. We traded Tony Bradley to OKC. Was that the George Hill trade? I think that was the George Hill trade. We traded a solid backup center for George fucking Hill. And we haven't had a good backup center since. Well, we have, Andre Drummond. But we traded Tony Bradley, young 25-year-old backup center, for George Hill. That was a disaster of a trade. But here's what you want to look at, okay? Is defensive rebound percentage. The percentage of that this player grabs a board when it comes off of the rim, okay? This season with the Chicago Bulls, you can't really count this because he's not, again, 2.8 minutes per game with the Bulls. You can't really count that, but it is 33.5% when he's on the floor, his defensive rebound percentage. Last year with the Chicago Bulls, he was getting solid minutes. His rebound percentage was 24.3, OKC 23.6. Last time he played for the Sixers in 20 games, his rebound percentage was 24.5. Let me put that into perspective for you by going over to Montrezl Harrell's defensive rebound percentage numbers, and they are basically half of Tony Bradley's. All right, 14.5, 14.2. At Washington, he was at 20. He was at closer to 20 in LA, and but really hovers around 15, 16, 17 for defensive rebound percentage. And Tony Bradley, 33, 24, 23, 24, 24. It's a night and day difference right there, okay? The second thing I want to look at is block percentage. It's the only real defensive stat I can get for these guys as far as an individual way to kind of tell if they defend the rim. Now, you can't really tell how good somebody's overall defense is by block percentage, but all I'm saying is at backup center, if you can grab some rebounds, block some shots, and just be a zero. Don't just be a zero, bro. Just don't be a negative. Just don't be a minus 15 in 1 minute, like Montrezl Harrell a couple of games ago, okay? Just don't be a minus 39 in the month of December, like Dwayne Dedmon for the Miami Heat this season, all right? Just be a zero. Grab some rebounds, defend the rim a little bit, okay? Block percentage for Tony Bradley, this season, again, not getting much run with the Chicago Bulls, but it's 2.9%. Last season, when he got some decent run with the Bulls, he was at 5.2. With the Sixers, he was at 4.1. Now, you go look at Montrezl Harrell, and you could probably guess just off the top of your head that his is going to be way worse than that because he can't block any shots at all. And Montrezl Harrell, this year with the Sixers, 3.7. Last couple years, 2.2, 2.4, 2.3, 2.8. So again, Tony Bradley basically doubles his block percentage numbers, doubles his defensive rebounding percentage numbers, and that is simple. It's simple, bro. It's simple. If Tony Bradley's released by the Chicago Bulls, you go and you sign him because he's a better rebounder than Montrezl Harrell. He's a better shot blocker than Montrezl Harrell. And this is I'm basing it. I did this last year with Furkan Korkmaz. It's not about is this player a superstar or an amazing NBA player. It's about is this player better than Montrezl Harrell? The answer is simply yes. The reason I'm putting him versus Montrezl Harrell and not Paul Reed is because I believe that Doc Rivers is going to go back to Montrezl Harrell as he always does. He has played Paul Reed now for 3 or 4 games, and he's played good, solid minutes at backup center the same way he did last year in the playoffs, won the Toronto Raptors series playing all of the backup center minutes. We came into this season, Doc Rivers went to another old guy for 4 months until he was proven wrong that you need youth and athleticism on the floor in the NBA. He goes back to Paul Reed again. Paul Reed's been playing solid at backup center for a couple of games now. But if I had to bet money, if I was a betting man, and I'm not until a sports betting company sponsors my YouTube channel, if I was a betting man, I would tell you Doc Rivers is going to go back to Montrezl Harrell at backup center as soon as Paul Reed makes a mistake, or he's going to go to Dwayne Dedmon, which is going to be even more of a disaster. So the question is Tony Bradley better than Montrezl Harrell or Dwayne Dedmon? The answer is yes. He's a better rebounder. He's a better defender. You got to sign him if the Bulls release him. Bring Tony home and apologize for trading him for frickin' George Hill, man. Y'all come through the playback room tonight, playback.tv/runitbackphilly. We're going to watch whatever the hell you want to watch. Tweet me at runitbackphilly and tell me what you want to watch on Playback TV tonight, and we'll watch it, bruh. Let's do it, man. We're just trying to pass some time until Sixers season comes back, all right? You guys have a good one, man. Peace.